Okay guys, since we didn't get to go over the lesson in class with the graphing fiasco that happened with the printers, we're going to go over it now. So how this works is you guys are going to watch a video, and I'm going to have, as you can see, it's almost like I'm using the smartboard, and you guys will see what happens. I'm going to pull it down, we'll talk about it, and you guys need to take notes and kind of do the workshop as I talk about it. The cool thing is with the video is you can go back and re-watch it. So it might be helpful to watch it once without doing anything and then go back and do it. If you're confused on a part, write down in your notes that you're confused. You can either now email me tonight. I'll have my email open till about 10. Or you can meet with me tomorrow. Coming to class unprepared on Thursday will not be acceptable. So, you can reach out to me via email. You can reach out to me via texting, a phone call. I'll be around tomorrow. We can meet after games. We can meet before games. Whatever your schedule is, I am around. Okay, so we're going to do quote selection workshop, which is from class. So what you need to do is pull out your introduction that you brought to class today, and on the top of that page you should have draft 1 written on it. So this is the draft we're going to be working with, okay? So the first thing you're going to do is put a box around the quote. So we're going to do it one quote at a time. So I'll go through the whole process once, and then you need to pause the video and go through the process again with your second quote. So in terms of your first quote, which will happen in your first paragraph, hopefully, you are going to put a box around the quote. And now what I want you to do is ask yourself, is this a fact? Is this common knowledge? If it is, then you shouldn't be using it. We don't quote facts in science. You're not going to quote facts pretty much anywhere. You want to quote a statement someone said about the topic, or a statement that sheds new light on the topic. And then I'm going to give you an example down here. I say if I was doing an introduction on, I was looking at something in terms of dogs. If I said, quote unquote, a dog has 4 legs, that's not a sentence I'm going to want to quote. You know a dog has 4 legs. I know a dog has 4 legs. Your little sibling probably knows a dog has 4 legs. Instead, I may find that somebody said, dogs are man's best friend, and just like man, there are several kinds of dogs. And that's a great quote, because that's leading me to discuss several types of dogs. So again, when you box your quote, if it is a fact, you're going to have to scratch it. If you think it is a fact, it probably is. If it is common knowledge, it definitely is. So just look at that, and you're going to need to find a new one. So if that's the case, go find a new quote. Don't worry about doing the rest of this yet. Come back to it. The next thing you're going to do is you are going to put stars next to the words in the quote that connect with your hypotheses. Okay, so you're going to ask yourself, and then I want you to look at these words that you starred. Do these words make sense? Can you see a direct link to the hypotheses? Did you star words that have nothing to do with the hypotheses? You look at your hypothesis and you look at the quote and you don't see what the relation is. Okay, hopefully you do. Hopefully they link and you can see the connection. So if you did both of these steps for the first paragraph, what I'd like you to do is pause the video and go through these 2 steps for the second quote that you have. Again, you only are required to have 2 quotes. You don't do this for paraphrasing. So now moving on to, oh, there it is. There it goes. So here's an example. Let me see if I want to do this. We're going to hold off on that. I'm going to come back to it. We're going to do this quote analysis. So first off, keep in mind the draft you had in class today is considered draft 1. Now what I want you to do is open a document. You're going to turn on track changes with the balloons, just like you've done in history and English, I believe. And you save this document as document or draft 2. Okay, so you're just going to override the original document. Looking back on draft 1, we're going to do the quote analysis workshop. So again, we're working with that first draft that you just did the quote selection with. And what I would like you to do is look at your box quotes. So you should have 2. And now what you're going to do is put brackets, which, a bracket, for those who need a reminder, are these things. They look like that. So just, you're going to put those around all of the analysis that applies to each quote. What I want you to do is ask yourself how much of the paragraph is quote versus how much is analysis. Keep in mind, here are some key things to think about. Never start your paragraph with a quote, and do not finish your paragraph with a quote. Okay? Do not lead your analysis with the phrase, this quote explains, or as you see in this quote, or this quote shows. That makes your paper sound more informal, and we're looking for this to be a formal writing. A lot of times if you write, as you can see in this quote, blah, 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 you can just delete this and move on and actually say what you want to say. And then what you're going to do, so after you put brackets around the analysis and you look at how much analysis you have versus the quote, you're going to circle the words in your analysis that link to your quote, not your hypotheses, your quote. So you're going to circle the words in your analysis that link to your quote. Next thing you're going to do, put check marks. I don't know how to make a check mark on a computer, but I think you all know what they look like. Put check marks next to the words that link to your hypotheses. So check marks for the hypotheses, and you should have words circled for the quote. Now what I want you to do is make a list of these words in the margins. So it's by paragraph. Okay? So make a list of the words that you just circled and the ones that you just checked, and make a list in the margins. You're going to do this for each paragraph. So what I want you to know, think about, are these words the same? Are they different? Do they relate to each other? If they do, great. If they don't, you're probably going to need to work on your analysis and writing a little bit more. At the bottom of draft 1, you're going to write a list on what you plan to work on over the next 2 nights. You do not have NGP tomorrow, so this is going to count for tonight's homework and then tomorrow's homework, so you can split it up so you're not spending 2 hours working on the same document. Okay, plan accordingly. Before we do that, I want to go back up here and discuss this beautiful picture I made. So as you can see up here, it's background information and science concepts. So your hypothesis is the bottom point of the triangle. And as you can see, we have broad information up here with the background information and science concepts, very broad in our first paragraph. In our second paragraph, we go out and find a research study or an experiment that has already been completed by somebody. So in this second paragraph, you want to talk about who did it, what did they do, what did they find, what's the purpose of this experiment, of your experiment, why is your experiment important. This is what you want to be working on in the second paragraph. And it's a little bit narrow. It's going to be more specific to what you're doing. And then as you get to the tip of the triangle, you have your hypotheses, which is pretty much what your entire introduction is trying to get down to. Again, start very broad with science concepts, get a little bit more narrow with the research, and then very specific with your hypotheses of if, then, because. I don't know why that because is, there you go. It's not 2 words. Okay, so going back down to your homework. Here is your homework. 1, complete the quote selection workshop and the analysis. I cannot type and write at the same time. It's like chewing gum and walking. It's just not going to happen. This is to be done on draft 1. So when on Thursday you're going to turn in draft 1, and I should see check marks and stars and circles and all that jazz from the stuff we discussed earlier. So the number 2, you're going to revise and edit your intro. Track changes with the balloons. Okay, track changes, that is key. If you are confused and unsure of how to track changes, you need to speak up and meet up with us, by tomorrow, so you don't come on to class on Thursday without track changes. If you keep the track changes on, you'll be able to print it. It'll print with the track changes. It's fantastic. The last thing is you need to print out 2 copies. 2 copies with track change balloons, and basically 1 copy is going to be for me that I'm going to use as a grade, and 1 copy is going to be for you to peer edit. Just as a heads up, in terms of what we are actually doing for the experiment, what's going to happen is you are going to be in 2 partners, and this might actually help you guys with some of your writing. You're going to have a partner, and just know that you're going to have samples of food Your partner is going to be blindfolded. Your partner is going to be blindfolded, and then your partner will try food number 1 and then food number 2. They're going to try it first with their nose plugged. Nose plugged. You're going to try the 2 foods again when they're smelling a lot of garlic and see what their reactions are, and then they're going to try the food a 3rd time with being able to breathe regularly. Okay, so again, that's showing you how we're manipulating the smell to see if it affects the taste. Okay? That's pretty much what we're doing. Again, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, you need to email myself or Miss Mac. My email is kquist@lacademy.edu, and I hope you guys found this video as exciting to watch as it was to make. Have a great night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget, it's NGP Health Day. Dress code, bring a pen and a pencil, and go to the theater after advisory. Have a good night, guys. Bye.